Finally. Okay. It is officially recording, and we have a few housekeeping things to take care of. And like, Mrs. Kneifel, what does that mean? It means that Mrs. Kneifel is going to quickly go through who's missing assignments. The quiz from Thursday, eruptions, volcanoes, and the science of saving lives. Isla Ashcraft. Caden, but Caden was absent. James. Ethan. Ella. Kylan. You guys need to do that. The Thursday quiz. Also, 17 of you didn't do Friday's assignment. So let's quickly go through that. If you hear your name sometime today, you need to get this stuff done. Isla, Lillian, Landon, Caden, Isabella H, Hannah Horton, Ethan, Nikeelan, Olivia, Ella, Jessica, Ava, Isabella T, Kylan, Violet, Levi, and Rochelle. You guys have not, Landon Cowgill, you guys have not finished your test from Friday. Get it done sometime today. It's already late, okay? So get that done. That was just my 5-second mini housekeeping. So anyways, let's get started on our lovely day. So first things first, we have a new root to learn. Dun, da, da, da. And someone remind me, where does a root go in a word? Put it in my chat. Where does a root go?
Anywhere.
I said put it in my chat. Where does a root go? Landon Rebus said anywhere. Bryden said anywhere. Angelina, anywhere. Yeah, that's a trick question. Mrs. Kneifel likes to give it to you because it's like a trick question, okay? It can go anywhere. A root could be at the beginning of the word. It can be at the end of a word. It can be right smack dab in the middle. It doesn't matter. It can go anywhere. So our first root is a Greek root, or comes from Greek, and it is geo, G-E-O. If you know a word that has geo in it, please type it in the chat now, G-E-O. If you know a word that has geo in it, Greek is a language. It's a nationality. Ooh, I have geography showing up. Geographic. Geology. What else showed up?
Geography.
Geode. I don't know if that's how you spell it. Maybe it is. I said geography. Geotypically. Geograph. Geophysics is a word. Has geode. Geoscience is a word. Also, I have two words that don't follow what the root means, and I have outrageous that has geo in it, but that doesn't really follow our rule. Geothermal. What was my other one? Oh, courageous. We're not doing names, okay? Names are not going to follow any rule. Okay, so the root geo. Thank you. We don't need to put in any more words. My board is clearly filled. What we have is good. I have geophysics. I have geograph. I have geographic, geology, geothermal, geoscience, courageous, and outrageous. I'm going to tell you right now, courageous and outrageous have geo in them, the GEO, but they do not follow the rule. Remember, there's exceptions to every rule. But does anyone want to give me a guess on what geo means? Just throw it in the chat. Anyone? Throw it in the chat. If you know, go you. If you don't know, that's okay. I don't want any more words that have geo. Oh, who said it? Earth. You are correct. Geo equals Earth. Geo means Earth. So geology is the study of Earth. Geoscience, that's earth science. Geophysics, that's earth physics. A geode is like a rock that like comes from the earth. Geothermal, the thermal temperature of the earth. Obviously, courageous and outrageous have nothing to do with earth. Those are the exceptions to the rule. So geo means earth. Does everyone remember that? Geo means earth. I'm going to add that to my giant list of suffixes and prefixes and stuff. Our giant running list. Geo means earth. Everyone say that to yourself right now. Geo means earth. Say that to yourself. Geo means earth. And now we have two suffixes. We're going to do one at a time. Where does the suffix go? Tell me in my chat. Where does the suffix go? Mark, I already told you I don't want any more words with geo. We have plenty. Yes, I'm seeing tons of correct answers. And. A suffix must go at the end. That is not a trick question. Suffix goes at the end. So, the suffix, we are doing first. Both the suffixes this week are like harder ones to think of, like words. So I pulled up freedictionary.com so I can show you guys some more because they're just harder ones. So it is ology. Ology. L-O-G-Y is our first suffix. L-O-G-Y. So if you know one that has ology at the end, feel free to type it out. It will be kind of harder, so don't worry. I already pulled up a thing. Geology, correct. Biology, yup. Those are the two most common, I feel like. Psychology, yeah, that's another good one. Anthropology. Pathopsychology, that's a really long word. We could say volcanoology is a word. Criminology is a word. Photobiology, methodology, immunotherapyology. I'm just going to let you know there are so many. So I'm going to share my screen real quick, and then I'm going to show you like literally the word, like there's so many that end in ology. And I'm just going to show you some quick ones real quick, and then we're going to talk about what it means. So if you guys are thinking of some, good job. We're going to talk about what ology means, and then that'll help us determine what all the other words mean, okay? So as soon as it shows up, all of these words, pathopsychology, psychopathology, neuropsychology, immunopathology, these are 15-letter words that have it. Here's some 14-letter words that have it. Bioterminology. I don't know, really, really big words that Mrs. Kneifel isn't exactly the best at reading. Biotechnology. Optomethodology. Pharmacology. I know what that word means. Bacteriology. Anyways, look at all these words that end in ology. That is so many because ology means something super specific. Does anyone know?
Is biology?
Probably. Look at all these. There's so many ology words. Because ology, like zoology, geology, antiology. There are literally so many. Does anyone know what ology means? Just give me a guess in the chat. If you, Marissa, please stop doing whatever you're doing. Presley wins. Everyone, Air 5, Presley. Oh, and Zachary. Ology means the study of, or study of, okay? So, biology, we already know that bio means life. Ology means study of. So that's the study of life. Geology, that's the study of earth. Psychology, that's like the study of the brain. Volcanoology, that would be the study of volcano. Criminology, that would be the study of criminals. Anthropology, that would be the study of, I can't remember what that means. Herbology, that would be the study of like plants and stuff. Okay, so there are so many of these words because all of these mean something, and then ology just means the study of that. The study of whatever the first word means. Oceanology, oceanology, the study of the ocean. I'm sorry if it's kicking you guys out. Just keep logging back in. You may have to watch the recording. I do not know why it's kicking you out. I apologize. So, technology, the study of technology. Okay? So is everyone understanding? All of these are just a thing, and it's the study of that thing. Okay, so Does that make sense? There are literally so many because it can be the study of anything, okay? Like, you can study basically any topic. So, the study of means ology. So, okay, we don't need any more words. Thank you. Like, clearly, there are so many. I'm already showing them to you. Do not type any more ology words, okay? That is officially unnecessary. Please stop typing them. Okay, so ology means the study of, and I will add that to my giant list. Miss Mia, what's your question?
Is foodology a word?
The study of food? I don't know. Let's look it up. I'm looking it up right now. Yeah, it's a thing. So I'm going to add that to our giant list right now before I forget. I should show you guys the list. That's what I should do. Actually, we're going to do our last suffix, and then I will show you guys my giant list, and we will add our 3 new ones together. Okay? That's what we shall do. Okay? Okay. So our next one is similar to the one that we just did. Similar. It is logist. 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 So I'm going to give you an example. A photologist, okay? Or a meteorologist, an archaeologist. So many, so many. There's just as many as there was for like the last one. So I'm going to throw up another shared screen to show you how many ologists there are too. A volcanologist. Yeah, that was one of our words from the other day. So I'm going to show you another one about how many end in ologist. These are just some popular ones, okay? Popular. Hold on, my screen will share in 1 second. My screen will share in a minute. Zoologist, that's a good one, Mark. All right, so here is ologist, or however you say it. There are like almost just as many as ology. Look, all of these. Microbiologist, I know what that word is. Meteorologist, electrologist, a cosmetologist. We know what that is. That's a hair person. Someone who does hair. Toxicologist. Embryologist. Look at all these. All of them. There's so many that end in ologist. So would anyone like to give me a guess? So ology means the study of, and then this one is just like it, but it's IST. So you are basically right on track, Miss Presley, and it means one who does, okay? One who does. So a person who studies or is an expert in the related ology. So, for example, cosmetology, that's like makeup and hair, right? If you want to do hair for a living, you'll go to school for cosmetology. The ology is the study of. But if I say a cosmetologist, that is an expert in cosmetology, okay? So, ologist is the person who studies, sorry, I have a thing on my screen, is the person who studies the ology. Okay, stop typing in words. We don't need the words anymore. I showed you how many there are. Right now, we are focusing on what they mean. So, ology, the study of. An ologist is the person who studies or is an expert in that ology. So ology and ologist go like hand in hand together. We need them both, okay? So we're going to add these to our ginormous chart real quick because why not? I don't think I added last week's, so we should add last week's as well. Or maybe I did. No, I don't think I did. So we had one root, and our root was... Does anyone remember last week's? We need to type those in. Geo. which means earth.
Gram. We had gram, graph.
Yes, you're right. We had gram and we had graph, then we had fur, then we had rupt. Okay, we will type those roots in a minute. Well, that was carry or bring. What? Written, drawn, or recorded. Sorry, this is kind of getting off topic. I just totally forgot to add these last week. I need to look up what rupt means again. I know what it means, but I don't know the actual definition. All right, so now we need to add our suffixes at the bottom. This is what the giant chart looks like, in case you're ever wondering. So the suffix L-O-G-Y means the study of. And then L-O-G-I-S-T means a person who studies or is an expert in the related ology. Okay, so as always, we have to remember, do every single one of these follow every single rule all the time? We might do another extra credit assignment, but not until the end of the thing, Presley. Right. They go along with it, but not every single one follows every single rule. Just like, I got to find rupt because it's going to bother me if I don't find it. Just like outrageous does not follow the earth, the geo thing, but it still has the geo in it. It just is not perfect. Oh yeah, it's break or bust. Perfect. All right.
Mrs. Kneifel,
Yes.
you want to know why I'm so excited for ints? Because I have an 8-syllable letter word.
That's
I have 8 syllables in one word for the word ints. And I am ready to use it, but not now.
I'm sure it'll come up eventually. So, yes, Mia.
Miss Kneifel.
Yes.
I don't understand the words. I know what they mean, but when you name different words, I don't know what they mean.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm just naming other words that have them in there. You don't necessarily need to know what they mean. But if I say what's a word with ology? If I say pharmacology, you know it's the study of something. So if you looked up pharma, that would mean something to do with pharmacy and medicine. The important thing is that you know what the suffix means, and then you could figure out the root word later. Okay, I'm not expecting you to know all 500 of those words that I showed you. I was just showing you how many studies ofs there are. Okay, that'd be crazy if you knew all of those things. The point is that if you saw a word that had that ology on the end, you would know it's the study of something. Okay. Or if you saw the ologist on the end, you would know this has to do with a person who studies that. Okay? Mm-hmm. But then, the goal is not to know every single word. That would just be crazy. The goal is to know, the goal is to be able to, if you needed to, you could figure it out by knowing, the suffix or the root. You could know by looking at ology and say, this is the study of something. So I know it's the study of something. I can look up just the beginning and know it's the study of. Okay? And all the ones with geo, that has something to do with earth, except for the outrageous and the courageous. But geographic, okay, that has to do with earth's graphics. Geophysics, that has to do with earth's physics. Geothermal, thermal would be heat and the temperature and stuff. So that'd be Earth's temperature and stuff, okay?
Is geo in the root words?
Geo is a root, yes. Then ology and ologist would be a suffix. But geo is in the roots. I just took it off my screen. But yes, geo is roots. Okay? Now we're going to transform from that to our vocab. We have vocab. We only have 4 vocab words this week. Short vocab words. So your homework, you're going to have to type all 4 into sentences. But I feel like some of them we might know what they mean, okay? So our first one is prior. P-R-I-O-R. Does anyone want to raise their hand and tell me what prior means? Okay, Mark, I said raise your hand. Dylan, tell me what prior means.
Prior means before.
Yeah, prior means coming before in order or time. So if I said prior to reading, you had math RTI, that would be a true statement. Or prior to Mrs. Kneifel coming to school, I went to Casey's gas station. That means it happened before. Paisley, do you have a question? Paisley, unmute yourself.
Does prior go with priorities?
I mean, your priorities are, no, not necessarily. No, not necessarily. So a sentence, this is a person, I know sometimes the picture doesn't go along with the word. This is a person buckling their seatbelt. So a sentence could be, prior to driving, my mother checks to see that I have fastened my seatbelt, which you should always wear your seatbelt. So prior means coming before in order or time, all right? Our next one is magnitude. This is the magnitude, M-A-G-N-I-T-U-D-E. Does anyone know what this is? If I say the magnitude of something, what does that mean? I'm referring to what? If I said the magnitude of the situation or something like that. You can type it into my chat because I see a bunch of hands up. Magnitude. I see a few of you heading in the right track, but magnitude technically refers to the size of something, okay? So not its height, not its level, just the size. So if I said the magnitude of the situation was huge, that would mean it was big. So magnitude refers to the size of something, okay? So a sentence could be the magnitude of the Alaskan earthquake was 9.2. Okay, magnitude. I'm referring to the size of something. Or, oh, guys, the magnitude of that situation isn't that big. You'd be referring to the size, not that great, okay? So magnitude refers to the size of something, okay? Check. Next one, this is a word Mrs. Kneifel likes to say all the time. It is literally. What is literally? I can't even say it. Literally mean. Literally. This is an adjective. What does literally mean? What does literally mean? Yeah, it means legit. That's a good way to put it. Literally. If something literally happened, that means it actually happened. And you aren't exaggerating and you aren't using a metaphor. It literally happened. So if Mrs. Kneifel, what happened to me this weekend? My dogs literally woke me up at 5:08 this morning. That literally happened. I'm not exaggerating that that's what time they woke me up. They actually woke me up at that time. Literally woke me up at that time. Okay? So literally means it actually happened. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not using a metaphor. Okay? Literally. Mrs. Kneifel loves to use this word. So I can say,
Mrs. Kneifel, no cap.
what?
When I said no cap, that means literally or legit. It's the same thing.
Oh, okay.
If your dogs are waking you up
No,
at
they're not
5,
outside
you need to put them
dogs.
outside.
One of my dogs just had to go potty. It was no big deal. I took them potty. I brought them back in. They went 9-9 again till like 6.
So they had to
needed
go
potty,
outside.
but then they came back inside. So a sentence could be, it literally rained for 5 days. Okay? Literally. And our final one for this week is maintenance. I don't even know what maintenance means. It's a noun. It's a thing. Maintenance. Maintenance. What does maintenance mean? Okay, they needed to go to the bathroom. I don't know. Why does it matter what I call it?
Repairing.
Maintenance. The maintenance of something is the act of taking care of or repairing it when needed. So a maintenance man is someone that takes care of a building or things all the time. You either repair it or keep it up to date, okay? So something that needs taken care of or needs fixing, that would be maintenance. So I could say the maintenance needed to keep the school in good condition, period. So the maintenance staff, that would be like Mr. Ott and Roxy. They are our maintenance staff. They take care of the school. So you could say the store's maintenance team did a good job cleaning or something like that. Or the maintenance man fixed my stove. Okay? So maintenance, they fix things, they keep things working in working order. Okay? So let's review those real quick. Prior means coming before in time or order, sorry. Magnitude refers to the size of something. Literally. If something literally happened, that means it actually happened and you aren't exaggerating or using a metaphor. And then the maintenance of something is the act of taking care of it and repairing it when needed. Okay? Are there any questions on those vocabulary words? Any questions on our vocabulary words? If not, we have just one small little thing to do today. Hopefully no one's leaving me because we still have something to do today. I'm going to share a screen. So this week, we are doing something a little bit different in reading class. Instead of reading a story, we're going to actually listen to a story, but we're not going to do that till tomorrow. So no one worry about that. But we're talking about earthquakes this week, not next week, because next week's Thanksgiving and we won't do a story, but the following weeks. So the next few weeks, we're going to be talking about earthquakes. So Mrs. Kneifel was like, ooh, let's just pull up some fun little earthquake things that we can read about really quick. Earthquakes, a little bit of background knowledge on earthquakes before we start learning more about earthquakes this week. Okay? So let me zoom in and we're just going to read a little bit about earthquakes. Science for kids. Okay. So, fun fact. Oh, no. Oops. So, earthquakes happen when two large pieces of Earth's crust suddenly slip. This causes shock waves to shake the surface of the Earth in the form of an earthquake. So, two pieces of Earth's crust. They're hitting, they're slipping, they're causing shaking, okay? So, where do earthquakes happen? Technically, they can really happen anywhere. Earthquakes usually occur, meaning most of the time, but not always. Earthquakes usually occur on the edge of large sections of Earth's crust called tectonic plates. These plates slowly move over a long period of time. Sometimes the edges, which are called fault lines, can get moves, causing an earthquake. So here's my plates. Earth's always moving. And then, oh no, one's stuck, but things are still moving. Oh my gosh, so much pressure. Earthquake. Basically that, okay? So earthquakes normally happen near fault lines. So if you live near a fault line, you're way more likely to have an earthquake than we are in Indiana. Not that it couldn't happen, it's just way more likely by a fault line. Which sentence, Mia? California has a lot of earthquakes. Alaska has some earthquakes. Slowly builds up where the edges are stuck, and once the pressure gets strong enough, the plates will suddenly move, causing an earthquake. Okay? So a foreshock and an aftershock. What are those? Those are two words that go along with earthquake. So generally, meaning most of the time, but not always, generally before and after large earthquakes, there will be smaller earthquakes. The ones that happen before are called foreshocks, and the ones that happen after are called aftershocks, which totally makes sense. Before, foreshocks. After, aftershocks. Everyone get how those like really go together? Scientists don't really know if an earthquake is a foreshock until the bigger earthquake occurs. So there could just be a tiny earthquake and that's an earthquake, or there could be a tiny earthquake which is leading up to a big earthquake. So scientists never know if a foreshock is the actual earthquake or a foreshock until there's more. So that's just a little bit of background knowledge. If I ask you what a foreshock is or what an aftershock is, you'll be able to tell me. Also, can someone tell me what content area specific words foreshock and aftershock are? Or tectonic plates or fault lines? What content area are we talking about? Type it in my chat. What content area are we talking about? Remember, we talked a ton about content area words the past 2 weeks. Science, yes, these words go along with science. These are not mathematical words. These are not social studies words. These are science content area words. Literally, it says science for kids. So, like, everyone should be able to get that right. Science is the content area.
Nice job on the vocab word.
So now we can talk a little bit about seismic waves. Like I said, we're just getting some extra background knowledge on earthquakes before we talk more about it, okay? So shock waves form an earthquake that travel through the ground called seismic waves. They are most powerful at the center of the earthquake, but they travel through much of the earth and back to the surface. They move quickly at 20 times the speed of sound. Okay, the speed of sound is pretty fast, and they're moving 20 times the speed of sound, so basically seismic waves, earthquakes can move very fast. Scientists use seismic waves to measure how big an earthquake is. They use a device called the seismograph to measure the size of the waves. Guess what? Seismograph, that was one of our vocabulary words last week. So the size of the wave is called the magnitude. Oh, see, that's one of our vocab words this week. The size of something is its magnitude. So look, seismograph was from last week. Magnitude is from this week.
Mrs. Kneifel,
Yes, Mia.
what's it talking about when it means like waves? The size of waves?
Okay, so just that would be like the earthquake. It's causing the earth to like rumble up and down. Okay, so it's not just one straight thing. It's the earth's going up and down and causing all this rumbling. So that's why they call it a wave. Okay, just like a wave in an ocean, it's not straight flat. It's up and down just like an earthquake is. So those are called shock waves. So that would be what the earthquake is producing. And yeah, Mark did a little bit of math. The speed of sound is 786 miles per hour. So 20 times that. That's just really, really fast. That's how fast an earthquake can move. The epicenter and hypocenters. That's a good place to start. The place where the earthquake starts below the surface of the earth is called the hypocenter. The place directly above this on the surface is called the epicenter. The earthquake will be the strongest at the point on the surface. So here's the hypocenter. This is where it's starting below the surface, so under the earth. And then here is the surface of the earth. And then it's just going to be really, really strong in this point. Obviously, something that happens in the very center, the very start place is going to be the strongest, because the further and further out it is, it's going to be a little bit weaker and a little bit weaker. So if you live right on a fault line, you're going to feel the earthquake the strongest. But if you're 20 miles away, it might not be as strong. Okay, you could still feel it, but it just won't be as strong. Ooh, here's a little bit about predicting earthquakes. Unfortunately, scientists cannot predict earthquakes, which we've already talked about. That's why it's a natural disaster. It happens naturally. It's a disaster. We cannot predict it. The best they can do today is point out fault lines so we know where earthquakes are likely to occur. Okay? So once again, we cannot predict them, but we can know where they're most likely to happen, meaning they can happen other places, but most likely to happen somewhere else. Then lastly, let's just read some fun facts real quick. I love a fun fact. Yes.
Have you ever been in the middle of a natural disaster? Like even when you were a kid?
I personally know. I mean, there's been like tornadoes in my area when I was a kid, but I was never affected by them. I've never been in an earthquake. I've never been in a hurricane. So thankfully, Mrs. Kneifel has been pretty much good to go. So fun facts about earthquakes real quick. The largest earthquake ever recorded in the world was in Chile in 1960. It measured a 9.6 on the Richter scale. So I think that's just really high. The largest in the U.S., so Chile is another country, but the largest in the U.S. was a magnitude of a 9.2, and that was in Alaska in 1964. So thankfully, we haven't had any giant ones like that in a while. They can cause huge waves in the oceans called tsunamis. I'm pretty sure we talked about that when we were doing our big list of things we knew about natural disasters. The shaking of the earth can cause the oceans to get all messed up, and that can cause giant waves, and then that's another natural disaster, another thing we can't predict. Movement of tectonic plates has formed large mountain ranges in the Himalayas and the Andes. Fun fact. Earthquakes can happen in any kind of weather. That's important to know. We can have an earthquake in the summer, in the spring, in the fall, in the winter. Earthquakes can happen in any weather. Weather, it does not matter. And Alaska is the most systematically active state and has more large earthquakes than California, which I feel like we don't necessarily always hear about. So yeah, no earthquake has ever reached a magnitude of 10, Bryden, which is good. So I feel like we hear about earthquakes more in California, even though technically Alaska has more, but Alaska is way less populated than California. So when there's an earthquake in California, it's affecting more people and more, businesses and things like that than the ones in Alaska. But technically, Alaska gets more earthquakes, which Mrs. Kneifel didn't know until today. So that's a fun fact. Good to know. The last thing we need to do, we are almost out of time, is I'm going to show you your reading homework really quick. Is it open? It should be open by now. Yes, it is open because someone already did it while we were doing this. Marissa, you did not pay attention. That makes Mrs. Kneifel sad. You should not have been doing your homework during this lesson because that means you missed part of the lesson. All right. So it is the same vocab homework as always, but there's only 4 words. So I want you to just use all 4 words. So use all 4 words to write a sentence. You must write 4 sentences. You cannot put 2 vocabulary words into 1 sentence. You must use a capital letter and punctuation. You must spell the vocabulary word right. Your sentence must use the vocabulary word correctly and make sense. This assignment is due tomorrow before reading. Okay? So it's due by 9:40 a.m. tomorrow. And you have 4 minutes to get started on this. So you guys are free to go. This is due by tomorrow. Thank you for joining me in reading class. You guys did a good job participating today. Give yourself a high five. This will be posted in case someone missed it. Have a great day, guys. My class. I'll see you at 1 o'clock. Mrs. Kneifel's
Miss
class.
Knuckle, I have 2 questions for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so for spelling, I noticed that in the red schedule after science, it's from 11:30 to 12:15. Do you think that it might be possible for you to set up a Google Meet with me to do just spelling with me? Because my sister has a dentist appointment in Maryville and we all have to go because I have a family business in Westville right by the school, actually, that church, that funeral home. I'm working there. I have to work there as part of the family business, and I have to go get clothes in Maryville. And my sister has a doctor's appointment for her teeth to get pulled.
Spelling, all I'm doing in spelling is we're just gonna read over the words, and then I'm gonna tell you the homework, and it'll be recorded and everything. So then, if you watch the recording and stuff, but you're still struggling, then tomorrow we'll set one up. Okay. So, but
Okay, I know. I was just asking because my mom said she doesn't want me to miss any of the Google Meets at all.
well, the spelling Google Meet's gonna be nice and short. I'm just gonna read over the words with you guys, and then I'm gonna tell you the homework. It'll probably be only 10 minutes. So then you'll watch that recording, and then if you're confused on something, then tomorrow we'll set up a meet. Okay.
So then, since I'll be in the car, can I do my spelling on a Google what's it called? Google Docs and share it with you. I'll make sure that I type it and I'll make sure I do it in front of my mom. So
the spelling homework is different than what we've done in the past. So we're actually doing a tic-tac-toe, but it's not going to be open till 1 o'clock, and you'll see it, and you get to pick different things, and some of them you can totally do in a Google Doc. And you have the whole week. Spelling's not going to be due till Friday. Okay? You have the whole week.
Okay. Okay, then.
Okay? Yeah, the only
Okay.
homework Landon is vocab, for reading at least. All right, my class, I'll see you at 1 o'clock. See you later. Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.